Hi, friends, and welcome to Season 3 of the School Librarian Learning Network podcast. I'm Steve Tatro, often known as Dr. T Loves Books, and I love talking about all things related to school libraries. I'm an old dog who's always trying to learn new tricks. That's why at each episode of the SLLN podcast, I'll chat with a school librarian about a lesson, program, or activity they love. Hopefully, this can be a place for school librarians to get ideas and find new ways to engage with their students and staff. Speaking of which, I'd love to hear about what you and your friends are doing in your school library. Email me at drtlovesbooks@gmail.com. That's drtlovesbooks@gmail.com to tell me about what you're doing, offer feedback about the SLLN podcast, or to request a podcast sticker. As Amy Herman likes to say, being a guest on a podcast is a great way to show your admins you are engaged in meaningful professional development and leadership in the profession. So drop me a line and let's chat. That being said, the opinions and ideas shared in this podcast by myself and my guests are our own and do not reflect those of our school districts. I just like to geek out about school libraries. So without further ado, let's get to this week's episode. Hey everybody, I'm back. I've got a new friend. I'm very excited to learn about this awesome activity that I saw posted online because that's where folks are sharing all their awesome ideas, which is great. But I'm jumping ahead as I usually do, so let me back up and say, welcome, Kristen. I'm so glad you could be here. Why don't you take a second to tell folks who you are, where you're at, and what you do?
Okay, well, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Kristen Williams, and I am in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I am the head librarian at Brebeuf Jesuit Preparatory High School here in Indianapolis. So this is my fourth year here.
Okay.
I've spent time in elementary school libraries and public school libraries and high school libraries. So I've kind of done it all.
Covered all the bases. I love it.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, head librarian implies that there may be other librarians?
Yes, we have an assistant librarian as well. We are quite fortunate. Yes.
That's awesome. So how did you end up in librarianship? I mean, you've been in several different libraries, but how'd you get there in the first place?
Well, I think like a lot of school librarians, I started out as a teacher. A classroom teacher. So I worked as a fourth grade teacher for several years straight out of college. My mom was a elementary school teacher, and I just grew up in the classroom with her and knew I loved that. Only did that for about 4 years. Enjoyed it, but always kind of looked at the librarian and thought, oh gosh, that seems so cool. So I took some time off.
It took me like 20 years to figure out that the library was the place to be. So good on you that you saw it right away.
Yeah. So I took some years off after my children were born. And I had told the librarian at my children's school, if you ever leave, let me know because I would love to interview for this job. So that's kind of how it all got started. And that was like 10 or 15 years ago. In Indiana, you only need your media literacy school librarian certification.
Oh.
So when I took my first library job, that is what I did. And then when I decided to move to high schools, that's when I went on and got my master's of library and information science.
Gotcha. Man. Well, it sounds like you had I love that you had a vision for where you wanted to be and that you went right for it. Because for some of us, it takes a while.
Yes.
So I had seen online that you had posted about a puzzle competition that you do. And I love the idea of it. And I am curious about sort of where did this idea come from in the first place?
Well, we have always, in my last two high schools, I've always had puzzles out in the library, just kind of as a brain break. Particularly in the school I'm in now, we have a lot of really high achieving students that need breaks. Just, kind of be kids and think of something other than academics and sports and where they're going to go to college. So I try to offer as much of that as I can. So a puzzle has always been out right by the circulation desk. So the kids can sit there and I can chat with them while they're working on the puzzle, which is a great way to get to know some of the kids more.
Absolutely.
And at one point, a couple years ago, we had 2 puzzles out. I'm not sure why, but these seniors, and it was a mix of males and females, And they were just kind of like looking over at each other, working the puzzle. And, they were getting competitive with one another and talking about like, well, we're going to finish the puzzle before you finish the puzzle. So it was really just a group of students that got competitive with their own puzzling that gave me the idea to do the competition.
Love it, man. It's funny. I had seen back when I first got started in the library, which was only a couple of years ago, I had put out a puzzle because somebody had said like, oh yeah, I'm surprised how much students love puzzles. And so I was in a high school library at the time and I just happened to have one. So I put it out and holy smokes, it was like piranha around a wounded calf in the river. It was just unbelievable. And I was like, wow, I never thought that this would be something high school kids would be super into, but like, it's amazing to me.
Yeah. Even more than like the board games that we have or the cards or the coloring, it is like the puzzle that is constantly being worked on.
And it's funny how sometimes you get those just accidental, coincidental things that happen that lead you down a path, because I never would have thought to put out 2 puzzles at a time. And because this thing happened to happen, now you've got this interesting activity that you've got growing out of it, which is great.
Right. And I think it was, we had our normal puzzle out, and then I think it was either Women's History Month or we were doing something with art. So I had a Women in Art puzzle out too. Gotcha. And so that's kind of how it got going. Like we hadn't finished the one yet, but I wanted to put this one out because it was, relevant to what was going on. So yeah.
I love that you've got themed puzzles too. That's great.
Oh, that's the favorite. And the kids will request like, oh, can we get the whatever puzzle, or it's ready for spring break. So they wanted something that was,
gotcha.
springy or summery.
Love that, man. And I love that the students are engaged with it in such a way that they are looking for like additional elements to it. Like it's puzzle, yes, but also like themes and ideas and ways that it ties into what we're doing. That's great, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got some awesome students there, I gotta say.
You know what? I love high school kids. They are. And I wasn't sure I loved them until my kids got to be older, and then when I could relate to my own kids being that age, it made it easier for me. But they're fun and they're funny and they're figuring everything out and they have so many questions, and they are just they can be very serious about things that really matter to them. And I really enjoy them.
Man. Well, I love that they are enjoying being in the library and taking advantage of things like your puzzles. So, okay, so we've got 2 puzzles out. Students just naturally, competitive nature takes over. They start puzzling against each other, which I love the idea that we have puzzled against each other.
Right.
So how did this sort of then evolve into what it is now?
Well, we have the Mothers Association puts on what they call Blues Week, and it's usually at the end of January, the beginning of February, and it's kind of like a spirit week just to get through the winter doldrums. There are dress-up days, and there is a pep rally, and there are snacks, and everybody tries to do something special. So we decided we would try to do a puzzle competition during Blues Week. And we have at our school 2 periods a day that last 30 minutes that the entire school is off. So there's no classes, no lunches. Personal responsibility time is what they're called.
Okay.
So we figured, we could try and get it done, host it during one of these break times so that anybody could participate that wanted to participate.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah. We have the area that we use in our space has 6 tables. So it very easily was, well, we'll have 6 teams, right? Because we only have 6 tables.
Take advantage of what you got.
Right. Each table has 4 chairs. So that was pretty simple. We'll do six teams of 4 players.
Okay.
And then it was just kind of the marketing you do around the school, putting the flyers up and making announcements, putting it on Instagram, but especially talking to the kids that regularly work at the puzzle, getting them excited about it. And in turn,
get that word of mouth going. And
yes, absolutely.
That totally makes sense.
Telling their friends and trying to come up with teams. And what ended up happening that I had no idea would happen was that when we made the announcements and we said, signups will open up Tuesday morning at 8 a.m., you have to sign up in person with the librarian, because we didn't want any crossover or, things getting missed on a form. We are full within a couple of hours. Like as soon as the kids get a chance to make it down to the library that day, we are full. And that has really helped I think with the excitement,
Yeah.
because kids come in and we're like, oh, sorry, we're full. You have to be faster next time. And I think that just makes them think, oh, this is something really cool.
Yeah.
If everybody wants to do it and everybody is already signed up.
It's
Yeah,
like going to the club and they don't let you in, so it must be an awesome club.
exactly. Exactly. And that is how these high school kids think.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So it's strictly first come, first serve. Like if there's no.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. We do have the area that um, we have the competition is kind of a few steps down.
Oh.
So students can line up and watch the puzzle competition.
Well, that's cool.
Sometimes teams will ask, well, this is just 4 of us, but can we have a manager? And I'm like, sure. You can have a manager, but they cannot touch the puzzle. Like they have to be this many steps away. But yeah, so we have done in the past, I think I started with 500-piece puzzle and realized there was not enough time in our 30-minute break to complete a 500-piece puzzle.
Yeah, I could see even with 4 kids, that's still going to be a challenge.
Yeah. So the first time, I think what we did is counted the number of pieces that they had put together.
Oh, okay.
At the end. But we've now switched to 300-piece puzzles, which are easier. Not everybody finishes still, but at least a team or 2 is finishing. So they know it's doable.
Gotcha.
Which is helpful.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I mean, I love that, you worked with what you had at first and then kind of adjusted as you went along, because recognizing sometimes we've got constraints that we got to try and fit everything in. So
oh yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
It's like when you're teaching and you like do the lesson the first time and
Yes.
you're like, I know it's not going to be the best the first time, but whoever gets it the second or the third time, it's going to be great.
Yes, exactly.
Kind of the same thing.
So how long have you been doing the puzzle competition now?
So this is our 4th year, I believe. It's our 3rd or 4th year.
That's awesome.
We had, and 2 years ago, we went to, like a lot of schools, no cell phones during the school day.
Gotcha.
So not only was this something else to do when they couldn't have their cell phones out, but I had written a grant proposal knowing that they weren't going to have their cell phones to purchase more games and puzzles and cards and coloring books for the library.
That's good.
So that is the money that I use to purchase the puzzles.
Gotcha. And so, I mean, I generally rely on donation puzzles, which, sometimes you're missing a piece. Sometimes it's not quite the best puzzle, but, you work with what you got. But I love the idea of using a grant, especially with New Jersey just had a cell phone ban put into place that's starting next school year. So there's probably going to be some money floating around to be able to, I like that. I got to think about that. Okay.
So then that way I was able to buy 6 identical puzzles, right? And they're usually, winter themed, and the kids love animals. So it's usually like cats in the snow or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But because I bought 6 puzzles, then the winning team each gets to take a puzzle home.
Oh.
And then, we keep the other ones for the library. But so that's one of the, the prizes for winning is that you get to take the puzzle home.
Oh, that's cool. And I can see them sort of like assembling those at home and turning it into like a poster or like a victory banner, as it were.
Yes. Yeah. So we make them wear like a blue, when they win, we make them wear a blue ribbon and we take their picture, and it's fun. They enjoy it.
That's awesome. So I imagine as you are doing this and publishing this, and it's got momentum that it is continuing year after year.
Yes.
Have you sort of gotten any recognition, feedback, notice from like teachers and admin as this is going on?
For sure. The teachers, lots of them come to watch. And then some of them will sneak their way onto a team. They'll talk to a couple of students and be like, oh, I could be the 4th person on your team. So, another way for the students to see us as regular fun people that enjoy doing the same sorts of things that they do.
Yeah.
And then I'm fairly lucky. I have a very supportive administration. And actually the assistant principal that is kind of over the library is a former librarian herself.
Oh, nice.
So, we're pretty lucky that, they understand the importance of the library not only like as a place to do research and read, but also as a safe space for these students
Yeah,
and a happy
absolutely.
place.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
You don't always, it's really frustrating to me when admins don't get the importance of the library for the students, especially like I was just recently talking to somebody else about how the library is sort of not becoming, it is a third space in the school. Like our public library is a third space in our communities.
for sure.
And we've got to support that whenever ways we can. So that's awesome. You've got an administrator that really gets it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So is the puzzle competition, that's a 1 day, like one and done?
Yes, that's it. We have added, because this kind of took off and students were enjoying it, we then were asked if we could host trivia. So we also do
Oh, okay.
trivia twice a year. There's like a fall and a spring. And that's very similar, but they absolutely love it. They just get super competitive and crazy, and
Yeah.
it's just a lot of fun.
It doesn't take much to get students into that competitive mindset. So
Oh, absolutely.
when we can turn it to something fun and engaging, that's awesome.
Yes.
Man, this is just such a neat idea. And I can see like a lot of different permutations that are possible with it too. Like I love that you're doing it in the winter. Like totally makes sense that we're in that period of we need a pick-me-up.
Right.
And you're doing trivia at a couple of times a year. You're doing this. I could see this being a multi-time a year. I could see, like, you talk about teachers. Have you floated the idea of doing like a teacher team or like?
Well, trivia, we do have a teacher team.
Okay.
We always have at least one teacher team, and they're just hysterical. They have so much fun. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Anytime we can get teachers involved with stuff that the students are doing, like you said, letting the students see that we are human beings too.
Right. And in the library, our teachers go to all the sporting events and they go to the theater productions, which is great, but it's so important for the kids to see them in the library as well, enjoying the library.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that, man. And I could also see this potentially being like you could do it almost like rounds of like, I guess you'd need a lot of puzzles, but if you were, since it's a 1 day event, like if you turned it into a multi-day thing, it could be like round 1, this kind of puzzle, round 2, that kind of puzzle, and like kind of take as a way to potentially open it up to more students. How many students are in your school?
800.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's a pretty good size school. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And I imagine with the students kind of fighting over who gets to compete it's a pretty limited pool of players, but like you said, having that exclusivity is also kind of a bonus. So that's kind of one of those things that I can see. I would be on the edge of, do I want to turn it into more students or do I want to keep it sort of as it is? And I know this thing is working.
Right. And you have me thinking, I like the idea of doing rounds for sure. But also we have a whole closet full of donated puzzles,
Okay.
So I like your idea of, if I could find, a number of them that all have the same number of pieces and aren't missing pieces.
Right.
Then that would be great too.
That might be a neat way to you could winner of round 1, winner of round 2, winner of round 3, and we're going to have our puzzle off.
Yes. And then maybe at the very end, that's when you take home the puzzle that they're all the same. You know what I mean? That might be a good way to do that.
Man, so many options. And I love that you're kind of you had this thing that sort of coincidentally came together and you've managed to turn it into something that is now, I'm going to say, an institution in your library, because
oh, for sure.
Clearly the students are looking forward to this, that they are, rushing down, trying to get signed up. I am just I'm in my head imagining almost a coliseum in your library with those raised steps and the students in the middle battling it out. It's great.
It's amazing. I mean, people will stand there and they will cheer, and the principal will come down and watch for a little bit. I mean, it's an event for sure.
That's awesome, man. Oh, wow. That's fun. It's fun, and it's on the one hand, it's a very straightforward and simple thing, but on the other hand, such a great opportunity for, like you said, all these different ways of the students interacting with each other, with their peers, with their teachers, with the library. I mean, so much going on here. It's so great.
Well, yeah. And I think that's what a lot of people outside the library don't understand about programming also, or, a lot of times is that, well, I'm not just putting this out because it's fun. I mean, yes, it's fun, but, we're thinking about kind of all the reasons behind it. you know,
Yes.
and what it can get going inside the library.
Absolutely. And especially when you've got something like a puzzle or Legos or something that lends itself to multiple people working together and building those. We've taken so much of the opportunity to play out of school. And
Absolutely.
we've got research now that shows like when students are playing, they're actually building social skills. They're building community building skills. They're learning problem solving skills in ways that land differently than in a regular classroom. So you're creating a space for them to learn in such it seems like they're not learning maybe to people who don't understand what's going on, but you're creating a very important learning avenue for them with this. So great.
Well, and the problem solving and the dialogue, you know, when you have 6 different teams, they don't talk beforehand really, right? So they get there, we say go, they open the puzzle, and then they're taking a few minutes to talk like, what's the best way to go about this? You know, do we start with all the edge pieces first? Or do we just start, oh, I see this is going to be a bird. I'll get all the bird pieces and I'll put that together. So you get to hear and see a lot of different takes on what is the best way to go about the same thing.
Yeah. And man, it must be fascinating to watch that going on and sort of see those different takes that are going on. Like, I'm imagining that your student audience that's watching this is learning about not just like watching the team strategize, but watching how different strategies have different outcomes. And so like sometimes strategizing is great, but sometimes we need to think about multiple strategies and figure out what might work best.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, it's so interesting. And, you know, I'm not going to say it now because I don't want to give it away, but I know I have found by watching the strategy that works the best. So there is definitely one that works the best most times.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes.
So like we're learning too. That's great.
Yeah.
Man, this is awesome. And one of the things I love, usually when we talk about lessons or activities, I kind of talk about ways that you might differentiate. But one of the great things about a puzzle is you don't necessarily need certain language skills or certain ability skills. It's images and shapes and spatial reasoning, definitely more than we often get to integrate those in school. Like a lot of times it's, can you write a sentence well? Can you understand the equation? And this is much more, I don't want to say instinctual, but like dealing with other sets of skills that really has a much lower barrier to entry, I think.
Absolutely. And I think skills that are no longer practiced as much as, you know, they were years ago, or even when these kids were younger. You know, you kind of give up putting together Legos, or you give up putting puzzles together at a certain age. So this just kind of takes you back to some of those more essential skills.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. Huh. Well, so clearly the students are interested in this.
Yes.
What have you heard any kind of feedback from them about the process? Anything that either you hear them coming away with, or that they've come to you to talk about as they're seeing this go on, or after, or even before? Like, are they coming to you like, when's this going on?
I mean, absolutely. As soon as we like to build kind of the excitement. So we'll put like a flyer or a poster out, like, you know, it's puzzle signups will open in 2 weeks, you know, and then you get the kids that come down and like, can I sign up now? Like 2 weeks, you got to wait. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that we're a Google school. So we as a library have a Google Classroom.
Okay.
That everybody's invited to. They don't have to join, but everybody's invited. And then we post a lot of this stuff on the Google Classroom as well. So sometimes we forget we posted something, and then, you know, here'll come 6 kids and be like, puzzle competition, puzzle. Oh, we're like, oh yes, the puzzle competition. But I think they just are so joyful. It is really it's competitive, but it's fun competitive, but they're just happy and they're being children, and they don't get a lot of opportunities to be children. And you can just tell how much they enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, and I love the idea of this because it is it's grade agnostic. Like, yeah, you're doing it with high school students, but I can see this working with any grade level. Like you kind of fit the puzzles to the grade, and
oh, for sure.
I can see all kinds of kids being engaged with this.
Absolutely.
Huh.
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I'm
And
thinking
I
about
love,
like the smaller puzzles, but then also if you think about doing it with Legos, you have the Duplo Lego. It's like build this animal with your Duplos or build this animal with your,
yeah.
regular Legos. Something
Oh,
like
that's a
that
great
I think would
idea
also
too.
be fun.
Yeah, doing like a Lego build off, like a timed Lego build off sort of thing. Oh
Yes.
boy,
Yeah.
that opens up a whole new range of possibilities. Huh.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, man, you really got my brain spinning on this. This is great. So, if somebody is looking to do this for the first time, they're walking in and they're like, okay, this is awesome. I got to do this. Any suggestions, any tips for what they might want to think about?
I think first, when is the best time to hold it in your building?
Hmm.
Whatever your schedule may be, I think that's the first thing you have to figure out.
Yeah.
Is there a time that anybody could do it, whether that's lunchtime or recess time, or if you're in a, you know, elementary school or a middle school? I think that would be the first thing you would kind of have to figure out. And then based on kind of your student body and your school and your space, how many teams do you want to have and how many people do you want on each team? I think
Hmm.
for high school kids, I think 4 is a great amount. I mean, they're bigger. The kids are bigger. And I mean, 4 is really all you could kind of have around
Yeah.
a puzzle. But it might be different for younger kids. But yeah, I think the time and the space are the first 2 important things to think about. And then I really like your idea that if you don't have the money or you don't have a grant, then, if you have donated puzzles that are all the same number of pieces,
Hmm.
um, then that's a great way to start.
Yeah, absolutely. I almost want to run an experiment at different grade levels with different numbers of students trying it out, because on the one hand, I can see like high school 4 because there's 4 that fit around a table and maybe more at lower grades, but I can also see more at lower grades turning into just
Yes, chaos.
yes, lovely, joyful chaos, but chaos nonetheless.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. For
Man,
sure.
well, this is awesome. It's such a cool activity, and clearly your students are totally into this, which is a huge testament to anytime we can do something that students are coming to us and like begging, please, can I sign up for this?
Right.
That is a sign.
Yes. Yes. Well, and the other thing I want to mention is that it's like other than us saying go and putting the puzzles out, it's self-directed, right? It's easy.
Yeah.
We give them like, oh, you have 10 minutes left. You have 5 minutes left. We do that. And the only other thing we do is we will let them know if they drop pieces on the floor.
Okay. Well, I think that's fair. I think
Yeah.
that's fair.
So yeah. Oh, you dropped a piece. You dropped a piece. But that's it. So, once you get it set up, it's easy.
Yeah.
Hands off for the most part.
It's like sort of the best bits of active programming and passive programming sort of married together.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Man. Well, thank you for coming and sharing this, because this is awesome. I know I'm already starting to think about how I'm going to use this with my kids, because I've got the time, I've got puzzles. I got to think about how I'm going to kind of bring some of those puzzle elements together. But this is super cool.
Well,
All right.
I love to hear how you do it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be a disaster, but it's going to be, like you said, the first time you learn from and then we move on. But
that's right.
This is
That's
great.
Right.
Huh. All right. Well, I think it is time. We're going to take our 90-degree turn and go into our book break.
Book break. Squiddy.
Okay.
So, anything you want to share, anything you want to get on people's reading radar, whatever it is, anything that you've enjoyed.
Well, I have 2 books, if that's okay.
Sure, absolutely.
One is professional. So like I said, I finished my master's later. I didn't start that until it was about 4 years ago. So I just finished up not that long ago. So one of the books, thank you. One of the books I want to talk about is called Core Values in School Librarianship.
Okay.
Responding with Commitment and Courage. And it was edited by Judy Morlian.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So this was in one of my courses, or one of my professors, I had her several times, was you always do a book study. And she would just give 12 different books to choose from because we were all over the place. Some of us were school librarians, some of us public, some of us academic.
Gotcha.
So choose the one that works best for you, right? And then you talk with anybody that chose that book. So this book is just, it reminded me why I do what I do, why we do what we do, why it's so important. It's like a call to action, a pat on the back, encouragement to keep going. I mean, every chapter you're like, yes, this is this is it. This is why I do this, and this is why I'm going to continue to do this. It just left me feeling just so grateful to be doing what I do.
Dr. M puts together such great books. I have been fortunate enough to be part of one of her books, and
okay.
the folks that she gets are amazing. Not saying that about myself, saying that about the other people who contribute. But yeah, it is. So this is not one I have read, so I'm going to have to put this on my short list.
So the core values are equity, diversity, inclusion, and intellectual freedom. So all just very important things that we're talking about all the time now in not only public libraries, but school libraries. And just reminding school librarians that we are leaders in the building. You know, we are the ones that see every student and also work with every staff member, right? So we're in a very, kind of an important spot. There's nobody else in the building really that sees everything.
Yeah.
And that we need to be using that to make sure that what we're doing in the library jives with, the overall school goals, but also that we let everybody know what we are doing in the school library and why it is important. Like telling our story so somebody else doesn't tell it, I think is one of the things that they mention in the book.
Absolutely. Incredibly important.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, just making sure as a librarian that you know what's going on in the building. What is this teacher teaching? What are the new initiatives? They talk a lot about, and it's vignettes. So it's like, well, here's a school librarian in a middle school in this town, and this is how she dealt with or he dealt with this intellectual freedom issue. And then, there's a vignette about relationships with faculty and staff. So just kind of real life examples, which is always helpful.
Yeah.
But just kind of just talking really about those relationships and the relationships with principals, making sure you kind of center the library in the school. I mean, so many people say that the library is the center of the school or the heart of the school. And I absolutely believe that. But you've got to show everybody else what you're doing to make it that way.
Yes.
And how it is that way. So just really, it pushed me to be, I think, more outspoken with my administration and my faculty, building relationships, trying again if it first doesn't, take off. But it just is it's such a hopeful book.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
I was recently doing a workshop on advocacy with folks, and so many folks were saying like, well, I don't really do any advocacy. I don't really, do anything that I would think of as advocacy. And as soon as I started talking about, well, like, do you talk to your staff about things you can do for them? Do you help the students with stuff? Does your principal come by your library? Those were all like anytime you're talking about or getting information about your program out there, people are interacting with your program. That's advocacy. And
absolutely,
it's so easy to think of that as not like just doing our jobs well is advocacy for what we do and helping people to understand that. But there's also this component of we do have to let people know what's going on because not everybody's seeing what's happening. So it can feel weird to feel like, oh, I'm going to go brag about what I'm doing. It's not that you're bragging about your program. And Amanda Jones, amazing librarian.
I got to interview her.
Oh, she's the best.
Yes, she's amazing.
She's awesome. And she loves to say it's not bragging, it's advocacy. Like you have to let people know what's going on because so many people don't understand what a modern school library program is. So
for sure.
It's, like you said, incredibly important, but also like well within our grasp as long as we are willing to take just a couple of little extra steps. It's very easy to get across so many of the things that we're doing. But.
Right. And I think personally, I mean, getting into those department meetings, with all of the different departments telling them about what we can do for them. We recently, Indiana changed their diploma standards. So now every student has to take computer science before they graduate. And that's new this year. What we had before that is every freshman had to take a course that we called digital citizenship.
Okay.
Which was, online safety, but also, how do you use a database it was a mishmash of lots of important things
Right.
that were all we put into the same course. And that's what we lost when this new diploma requirement came. So I met with the administration and then all the department chairs being like, okay, we are now going to have to embed this into the core curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
So that's off topic. But another thing I'm working on this year is advocating for getting this into all of this stuff into the core curriculum.
That's awesome. Man.
Yeah.
Lots.
Yeah.
I mean, the library is, like you said, at the center of so many things. And when we are given the opportunity to really run with that and show people how we can connect all these different elements together, the library can be such a powerful tool for the school and for the students and for the staff and for the administrators. Just get out of our way and let us do it.
Right. And, those are my best. I mean, one of the reasons I love working in the library is that it's different every day.
Yes.
And that is exciting to me and interesting to me. I mean, it could be all these students are coming down for help with research because, I presented to their class last week about researching and databases and they remembered, I'm like, please come ask for help. And they have, and they do. And that's exciting. Or it could be programming or we do book tastings with the freshman and sophomore classes, but it's every day is different and it's all interesting. And it's all fun.
Yes, absolutely. Man, we could probably spend the day talking about the importance of libraries. I'm sure that we could, but I'm going to circle us back around. Yes. So we've got this awesome professional book, and then you implied that you had another book that you wanted to share.
Yeah, I just picked up, it's been in my library for several years, and I've always wanted to read it, but I just finally picked up last night at the Telegraph Club, Melinda Lowe. It's historical fiction, takes place in San Francisco, Chinatown, in the 1950s. And it just has been, I don't know, it's been a while since I really was kind of flying through, you ebb and flow with your reading, but that I've been flying through a YA book. And this one is just so good.
All right. I've seen this one. I've seen this title come up a couple of times, different places, and I haven't gotten to it, but I might have to move that up my list a bit because you are not the first person to recommend that this is a really entertaining book. So
yeah. Entertaining is a great word, right? Because it's important, when you're talking about diversity and inclusion, the characters are LGBTQ. And so it's important, but it's also entertaining.
Love that.
Fun to read. Interesting.
That's all you can ask for, in my opinion.
Right.
Give me a book that's going to pull me in and I'm going to take from it the things that are important. And when you can incorporate those other elements, so wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, so that's a great one.
A couple of awesome books here to add to my list. Thank you. And thank you too for taking the time to come and share all this, because you just, before we got started, you told me you just started spring break. So I appreciate you taking time off of your spring break to come and share with us. This is so great.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This has been fun.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the SLLN podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes for the episode. They feature links to resources shared by our guest, as well as ways to keep in touch with them, and links to the book break titles. I'd love to hear from you. If you have feedback, a comment, an idea, a question, or something you want to share, you can email drtlovesbooks@gmail.com. That's drtlovesbooks@gmail.com. Know a librarian with something we could learn from? Let us know. Until next time, be good, be safe, and be well.